Imani's hands tremble as she slides her plate onto the counter, the clang of metal echoing in the bright kitchen. Chef Ashcroft barely glances at her dish, arms crossed, eyes already searching for the next student. The sous chef wipes his brow, muttering under his breath, "She should have known better." Luis, chopping nearby, pauses, his knife hovering mid-air. He catches Imani's eye and gives a small, encouraging nod. It's the only kindness in the room. Chef Ashcroft clears, his throat, voice clipped. "Not what we're looking for." He pushes the plate aside, not bothering to taste it. Imani swallows hard, her grandmother's locket warm against her skin. She manages, "It's a family recipe." Her words are quiet, almost lost in the kitchen's noise. The chef shrugs, already moving on. Save it for someone who cares. The rejection lands with a thud, louder than any shouted insult. Imani stands frozen for a moment, the weight of humiliation pressing down. The pantry worker restocks spices, avoiding her gaze. Another student whispers, "Tough break," but doesn't meet her eyes. Imani unties her apron, fingers stiff, and sets it on the counter. Her knuckles are white, but she won't let anyone see her cry. She glances at Luis, who mouths, "Don't quit." She nods, jaw clenched, and turns away. As she walks out, the kitchen's noise swells behind her. Laughter, orders, the hiss of steam. Imani's steps are slow, but her back is straight. She pauses at the door, looking back just once. The locket catches the light, a small spark in a room that refused to see her. She leaves, but her resolve follows. Before the story continues, please let us know from where you are watching this video. Write your city or country in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like if you believe in stories that challenge injustice. Your engagement gives power to voices that need to be heard. Imani's hands tremble as she slides her plate onto the counter, the clang of metal echoing in the bright kitchen. Chef Ashcroft barely glances at her dish, arms crossed, eyes already, searching for the next student. The sous chef wipes his brow, muttering under his breath, "She should have known better." Luis, chopping nearby, pauses, his knife hovering mid-air. He catches Imani's eye and gives a small, encouraging nod. It's the only kindness in the room. Chef Ashcroft clears his throat, voice clipped. "Not what we're looking for." He pushes the plate aside, not bothering to taste it. Imani swallows hard, her grandmother's locket warm against her skin. She manages, "It's a family recipe." Her words are quiet, almost lost in the kitchen's noise. The chef shrugs, already, moving on. Save it for someone who cares. The rejection lands with a thud, louder than any shouted insult. Imani stands frozen for a moment, the weight of humiliation pressing down. The pantry worker restocks spices, avoiding her gaze. Another student whispers, "Tough break," but doesn't meet her eyes. Imani unties her apron, fingers stiff, and sets it on the counter. Her knuckles are white, but she won't let anyone see her cry. She glances at Luis, who mouths, "Don't quit." She nods, jaw clenched, and turns away. As she walks out, the kitchen's noise swells behind her. Laughter, orders, the hiss of steam. Imani's steps are slow, but her back is straight. She pauses at the door, looking back just once. The locket catches the light, a small spark in a room that refused to see her. She leaves, but her resolve follows. The kitchen hums with activity, but Imani feels every glance. A cluster of students at the prep table murmur, eyes flicking her way, then back to their cutting boards. One leans in, voice low. "She really thought that would work?" Another shrugs, slicing carrots with extra force. The sous chef reloads the spice rack, pausing just long enough to give Imani a quick, uncertain look before moving on. Luis wipes his hands, steps closer, and lowers his voice. "Don't let them get to you." Imani manages a nod, but her jaw is tight. She hears a pan clatter behind her, followed by a snicker. Someone mutters, Guess that's what happens when you don't follow the rules. The words sting, but she keeps her gaze forward, refusing to let them see her falter. The head pastry chef walks by, glancing at the untouched plate still sitting near the trash. He hesitates, then continues without a word. Imani's hands grip the edge of the counter, knuckles pale. Luis leans in again, whispering, "You know you belong here, right?" She exhales, the tension easing just a little. A new order comes in, and the kitchen's rhythm picks up. The noise swells, but the undercurrent of judgment lingers. Imani steps aside to wash her hands, catching her reflection in the metal sink. Her eyes are tired, but there's a flicker of resolve. She dries her hands, squares her shoulders, and returns to her station. As she passes the pantry, a junior chef offers a quick, supportive smile, small but genuine. Imani nods, grateful. The kitchen's energy shifts, just a fraction, as if hope is pushing back against the doubt. She glances at Luis, who gives her a thumbs up before returning to his station. Imani breathes in, steadying herself for what comes next. Imani stands at her station, shoulders tense, as the kitchen's rhythm carries on around her. She slips her hand into her pocket, fingers closing around her grandmother's locket. The chain is cool, grounding. She opens it, glancing at the faded photo inside. "You always said, 'Cook with your heart,'" she murmurs, voice barely above a whisper. A junior chef walks by, glancing at the locket, then quickly looking away. The sous chef, busy checking the oven, pauses just long enough to notice Imani's stillness but says nothing. The head pastry chef calls out an order, barely masking his impatience. Imani closes the locket, tucking it beneath her collar, and exhales slowly. Luis approaches, wiping his hands on his apron. "You good?" he asks, his tone gentle. Imani nods, eyes fixed on the locket. "Yeah, just remembering why I started." Luis offers a small, understanding smile and returns to his station. Across the room, a prep cook fumbles a tray, muttering, "Some people just don't get it." The words float in the air, heavy but unchallenged. Imani steadies herself, the memory of her grandmother's kitchen flickering in her mind. Laughter, the smell of simmering greens, hands guiding hers. The locket becomes more than jewelry. It's a shield, a reminder of dignity and legacy in a space that refuses to see her worth. A timer beeps. Imani snaps back to the present, rolling her shoulders and setting her jaw. She steps forward, ready to face the next task. The kitchen hierarchy buzzes around her, executive chef calling out instructions, line cooks hustling, junior staff scrambling to keep up. But Imani stands firm, the locket's weight a quiet anchor. She glances at her reflection in a steel pot, sees resolve in her eyes, and moves on. The room may not listen, but her heritage speaks louder than any order barked across the line. Chef Ashcroft stands at the center of the kitchen, posture rigid, eyes scanning the brigade. His voice cuts through the clatter. Stations in order. No improvisation. The sous chef, clipboard in hand, nods sharply, repeating instructions down the line. The chef de partie at the sauté station wipes his brow, glancing at Imani, then quickly returns to his pan. Ashcroft's gaze lingers on her for a heartbeat, lips pressed in a thin line. He steps to the head of the pass, arms folded. "Presentation matters. Consistency above all," he says, tone flat. A commis chef fumbles a garnish, earning a quiet sigh from the sous chef. The pastry chef, usually chatty, keeps her eyes on the mixer, hands moving with mechanical precision. Imani stands at her station, shoulders squared, waiting for direction that never comes. Ashcroft inspects a plate, tilting it to the light. Too much color. This isn't a street fair. He sets it aside, not meeting the cook's eyes. The kitchen's rhythm falters, tension thickening the air. Imani watches as he circles back, his authority felt in every clipped command. "Follow the menu. No deviations." His words land heavy, a warning to anyone thinking of stepping out of line. Luis wipes his hands, glancing at Imani. He's making an example. he murmurs, voice barely audible. The grill chef, jaw clenched, nods in agreement. Ashcroft's performance is deliberate. Each dismissal, each correction, a reminder of who decides what belongs. Imani's fingers tighten around her spatula, but she stays silent. The brigade falls into step, every movement measured, every risk suppressed. Ashcroft surveys the room, satisfied with the order he's imposed. The kitchen resumes its routine, but the energy has shifted, creativity stifled, dignity bruised, as the chef returns to his office, the door shuts with a soft click. The brigade exhales, the weight of ritual exclusion settling over the room. Imani stands tall, her resolve unbroken, even as the system tries to shrink her. Imani pauses at the threshold, the kitchen's organized chaos blurring behind her. The executive chef, deep in conversation with the sous chef, doesn't notice her hesitation. The chef de partie at the grill station glances up, a flicker of curiosity crossing his face before he returns to his task. The pastry chef, hands dusted with flour, watches Imani for a heartbeat, then looks away, lips pressed together. Imani's grip tightens on her apron, her heart pounding. She hears a junior cook whisper, "She's leaving?" Another replies, "Guess she couldn't take it." Their words sting, but she keeps her head high. Luis, wiping down his station, catches her eye and gives a slow, deliberate nod. It's a gesture that says, "Don't let them define you." She glances at the kitchen brigade, the hierarchy clear, each role moving in practiced routine. The executive chef issues a new order, the sous chef relays it down the line, and the commis chef rushes to fetch ingredients. Imani absorbs the scene, every detail etched into her memory. She realizes she's been a part of this system, but never truly accepted. Her hand goes to her locket, thumb brushing the metal. She turns, looking back one last time. The kitchen's noise fades, replaced by her grandmother's words in her mind. "Stand tall, even when they don't see you." Imani's eyes meet Luis's, and for a moment, the unspoken support is enough. She steps into the hallway, the door swinging shut behind her. The kitchen resumes its rhythm, but something has shifted. A prep cook hesitates before returning to his task, a subtle question in his eyes. The pastry chef glances at the closed door, a hint of regret flickering across her face. Imani walks away, her resolve solidifying with every step. The first crack in the wall has formed, not with noise, but with quiet, unyielding defiance. The kitchen is smaller than Imani remembers, but the warmth is the same. She stands by the counter, watching her grandmother's hands move with practiced ease, pinching dough, stirring pots, humming a tune that's older than any recipe. "You see this?" her grandmother says, holding up a battered wooden spoon. "It's not about the tool. It's about the care you put in." Imani nods, absorbing every gesture, every word. Steam curls from a pot of greens, filling the air with a scent that feels like home. Her grandmother tastes the broth, never measuring, just knowing. "You cook with your heart, not your head," she says, voice gentle but firm. Imani tries to mimic her, but her hands are clumsy, uncertain. Her grandmother laughs, not unkindly. "It'll come. You just have to listen." The window rattles as a breeze blows in, carrying the sounds of children playing outside. Imani glances at the faded recipe card taped to the fridge, her grandmother's handwriting looping across the page. "Why do you always make this?" Imani asks, voice small. Her grandmother's eyes soften. "Because it reminds me of where I came from, and I want you to remember too." A neighbor knocks at the back door asking for a taste. Her grandmother scoops a portion into a bowl, handing it over with a smile. "Food is meant to be shared," she says, wiping her hands on her apron. Imani watches, realizing that every meal is an act of love, a quiet rebellion against forgetting. As dusk settles, her grandmother sits, finally resting. She pats the seat beside her. "You'll carry this with you, even when I'm gone?" Imani leans in, feeling the truth settle deep. The kitchen, the recipes, the stories. They're all part of her now. Roots that will hold fast no matter where she goes. The kitchen is buzzing, but there's a shift in the air as Tyler, a white student, steps up with his fusion dish, smoked Gouda grits with truffle oil. Chef Ashcroft's eyebrows rise, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Now that's creative," he says, lifting a forkful for the class to admire. Tyler shrugs, feigning modesty, but his eyes flick to Imani, who stands at the back, arms folded tight. A pantry worker leans over to another, whispering, "He just added cheese. That's all?" The sous chef, usually stone-faced, actually nods in approval as Tyler explains his inspiration. "I wanted to try something new, you know. Push the boundaries." The chef laughs. "That's what we need, students who aren't afraid to experiment." Imani feels her jaw clench. She remembers the way her own collard greens were brushed. Aside, labeled unorthodox. Now, the same risk is celebrated. Luis glances her way, his frown deepening. He mutters, "Funny how it's brave now." Imani doesn't reply, but her grip on her apron tightens. Chef Ashcroft calls out, "Everyone take note. This is how you innovate." The class gathers around Tyler, offering congratulations. The pantry worker restocks the shelf, shaking her head. Imani stands rooted, her grandmother's words echoing in her mind. "They love our flavor, just not from us." Tyler catches Imani's eye, offering a tight smile. "No hard feelings, right?" She meets his gaze, steady. "None at all." Her voice is calm, but her eyes say everything. The moment passes, but the weight remains. As the kitchen returns to its routine, the contrast is stark. One student's creativity celebrated, another's dismissed. Imani turns away, the lesson clear. In this room, who you are matters more than what you bring to the table. The Academy's kitchen is nearly silent at 2 a.m., fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Imani stands alone. Sleeves rolled, her notebook open to a page stained with grease and hope. She dumps flour into a bowl, hands moving fast, almost angry. The mixer whirs. She mutters, "If they won't taste it, I'll make it better." Her voice cracks, but she keeps going. She pulls a tray from the oven, burnt edges, undercooked center. "Damn," she whispers, slamming it down. A tear slips free. She wipes it with the back of her hand, jaw clenched. Her mother's voice echoes from memory. "They'll try to silence your flavor." Imani exhales, steadying herself, and starts again. She measures by instinct, not by the book. Cinnamon, cayenne, a pinch of sugar. She tastes the batter, nods, and pours. The oven ticks as it heats, the only sound besides her own breathing. She scribbles notes, crossing out "too dry," circling "try more heat." Her determination fills the empty room. A security guard peeks in, startled. "You're still here?" Imani looks up, offers a tired smile. "Just one more batch." He nods, lingering a moment before moving on, leaving her to the quiet. She sets a timer, wipes her hands, and leans against the counter. Luis texts, "You okay?" She types back, "Midnight baking, I need to get it right." He sends a thumbs-up emoji, nothing more, but it's enough. The timer dings. Imani pulls, out golden steaming rolls. She breaks one open, steam curling up, and tastes. Relief softens her face. She jots a final note. This is it. She packs the rolls into a box, scribbles, "For tomorrow," and turns off the lights. As she leaves, her notebook clutched tight, the kitchen feels less lonely. Tonight, her hope is hotter than her anger, and she's ready for what comes next. Imani slips into the staff lounge late, the hum of vending machines the only sound. She spots an open laptop on the table, screen still glowing. Curiosity wins. She scrolls through the inbox, eyes widening as she reads. Her dishes are too ethnic, not what we want for the showcase. Another message pops up. Praise for a white student's barbecue. Classic, crowd-pleasing, just what we need. Imani's fingers hover over the keys, heart pounding. Footsteps echo in the hallway. She freezes. The assistant instructor pokes his head in, searching for his mug. He glances at Imani, then at the laptop, but says nothing. Just a quick nod before leaving, his footsteps fading. Imani exhales, snapping a screenshot, hands shaking. She scrolls further. She's ambitious, but maybe not a good fit for the public event. The words sting, sharper than any critique in the kitchen. She closes the laptop gently, afraid to leave a trace. The faculty's bias isn't loud, it's hidden in phrases and decisions, in who gets chosen and who is quietly passed over. Imani slips the screenshot onto her phone, tucking it away like evidence. The lounge feels colder now, the hum of the machines suddenly harsh. On her way out, she passes the head instructor in the hall. He offers a polite, distracted smile, eyes never meeting hers. Imani nods, holding the phone tight in her pocket. The weight of what she's seen settles in. She knows she's not imagining it. The system isn't broken by accident. It's built this way. Back in her dorm, Imani stares at the ceiling, replaying the words in her mind. She texts Luis, "You were right." He replies, "Proof changes everything." Imani saves the screenshot twice, determined not to let it disappear. Tonight the truth isn't just felt. It's documented. The cafeteria is half empty, the hum of lunchtime chatter muffled by the weight of the morning. Imani sits alone at a corner table, pushing her food around her plate. Luis slides into the seat across from her, tray in hand. He doesn't say anything at first, just offers a gentle nod, his expression serious. He leans in, voice low. "You know they're scared, right?" Imani glances up, eyebrows raised. "Scared of what?" Luis shrugs, stabbing at his rice. "Of what you can do, of what you bring." He glances across the room where Chef Ashcroft is deep in conversation with another instructor, both stealing quick glances their way. Imani sighs, picking at her bland, school-approved meal. "Doesn't feel like fear, feels like they just want me gone." Luis shakes his head. "It's the same thing. They don't want to admit it, but you make them question everything they think they know." He pushes his tray aside, folding his hands. "You ever notice how they praise Tyler for pushing boundaries, but when you do it, it's too much?" Imani nods, her jaw set. "Yeah, every time." She lowers her voice. "Sometimes I wonder if it's even worth it." Luis leans closer, his tone urgent. "It is. You're not alone, even when it feels like it." He glances around, making sure no one's listening. "You see the way the pantry staff looks at you, like you're trouble? That's not on you. That's on them." A kitchen assistant walks by, offering a forced smile before hurrying off. Imani watches her go, then turns back to Luis. "Thanks," she says quietly. He grins, nudging her shoulder. "Don't thank me. Just keep going." Imani musters a small smile, the tension in her chest easing. For a moment, the room feels less hostile, the burden a little lighter. Luis's words linger, a quiet truth in a place that rarely offers any. Imani sits at her desk, eyes heavy from a sleepless night, her phone lighting up the dark. She hesitates, then posts a photo of her collard greens with a caption, "Flavor is history. Now taste the truth." For a moment, nothing happens. She sets the phone down, breath held. By noon, her notifications explode. Maya Brooks, the influential food blogger, has shared Imani's post with her own words. "This is soul food, not up for debate." Comments pour in, fire emojis, heart reactions, and stories from strangers. "Reminds me of my grandma's kitchen. Why aren't we seeing this on TV?" A few are sharp. "Too spicy for the usual crowd." Imani scrolls, hands shaking, reading every line. In the academy kitchen, Chef Ashcroft's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen, expression tightening. The sous chef leans over, whispering, "You see this? She's everywhere." A junior student grins, showing the post to classmates. "She's blowing up!" Tyler, the white student, looks away, jaw set. Luis rushes to Imani's table at lunch, phone raised. "You're viral." Maya Brooks just called you the future of Southern food? Imani's eyes widen. No way. He nods, grinning. Check the hashtag. It's everywhere. She scrolls, heart-pounding, watching her story spread. A faculty member passes, pausing at the doorway. She glances at Imani's phone, then smiles. Small, but real. Congratulations, she says quietly, before moving on. The kitchen staff, usually indifferent, now watch Imani with a mix of curiosity and respect. Imani exhales, a weight lifting. Her recipe, her voice, her story, no longer dismissed, no longer hidden. The hashtag trends. The world is watching. She looks at Luis, hope flickering in her eyes. Maybe it's finally our turn. He nods. It's about time. Imani enters the kitchen early, determined to get a head start. She heads straight for the spice rack, only to find her cumin jar missing. She scans the shelves, brow furrowed. The paprika is still there, but someone slapped a bright sticker over it. Do not use contaminated. She peels it off, sniffing the contents, but it smells fine. Her jaw tightens. A prep cook walks by, avoiding her gaze, arms full of onions. Another student, stacking pans, glances at Imani's station, then quickly looks away. The sous chef calls, out, "Everything all right?" Imani forces a smile. "Just looking for my cumin." He shrugs. "Check the dry storage. Sometimes things get shuffled." His tone is neutral, but his eyes flicker with something else. Maybe doubt, maybe complicity. Luis arrives, sees the frustration on her face. "What's up?" She lowers her voice. "My spices keep disappearing. Someone labeled my paprika as bad." He frowns, glancing around. "You think it's on purpose?" Imani nods, lips pressed together. "It's happened too many times." Luis reaches into his bag, pulls out a small tin. "Here, I always keep extra." She takes it, gratitude. In her eyes, the line cook at the stove coughs, glancing over his shoulder. "Maybe you just misplaced it," he offers, but his words are flat, unconvincing. Imani doesn't answer. She sprinkles the borrowed cumin into her bowl, adding a little more than usual. "They can't stop you," Luis whispers, voice steady. As the kitchen fills with the aroma of toasting spices, a few heads turn. Curiosity, piqued. The sabotage lingers in the air, but so does Imani's resolve. She stirs her pot, eyes forward, refusing to let suspicion steal her focus. The kitchen moves on, but the tension is sharper than ever. The kitchen is buzzing with talk as Tyler, the white student, sets down his dish for the day. He's grinning a little too wide as he explains, "Inspired by my travels. Collard green croquettes, smoked paprika aioli." The instructor nods, impressed. "Nice twist, Tyler." Imani stands at her station, listening, a knot forming in her stomach. Luis scrolls through his phone, then freezes. "Imani, look at this," he whispers, showing her Tyler's social post. Photos and captions lifted straight from Imani's viral recipe. Even the description is nearly word for word. Imani's breath catches. He copied it. Luis's jaw tightens. He didn't even bother to change the details. A classmate nearby overhears, glancing between Imani and Tyler. "Isn't that your dish?" she asks quietly. Imani nods, voice low. "Every step." The sous chef, prepping in the corner, looks up, sensing the tension. He frowns but says nothing. Chef Ashcroft gathers the class. "Let's all congratulate Tyler for his creativity," he announces. Imani's hands curl into fists. Luis leans in, voice steady. "You want to say something?" Imani shakes her head. "Not yet." Suddenly, a notification pops up on the kitchen's shared tablet. Comments flooding in under Tyler's post. "This is Imani's recipe. Credit the original chef." The room grows uneasy. Tyler's smile falters. He stammers, "I was inspired. Isn't that what cooking's about?" The instructor hesitates, glancing at Imani, then at the screen. Imani stands taller. She doesn't need to shout. The truth is out, spreading faster than any rumor. The kitchen staff exchange uneasy glances. The pantry worker, usually indifferent, offers Imani a nod of respect. As the class disperses, Tyler avoids her gaze, cheeks flushed. Imani returns to her station, back straight, eyes clear. Luis grins. They know now. Imani nods, her silence louder than any accusation. The balance has shifted, and everyone feels it. The faculty lounge is tense, chairs scraping as instructors gather for an emergency meeting. The head instructor clears his throat, glancing at a stack of printed comments and screenshots. "We need to address the plagiarism accusations," he says, voice tight. The pastry instructor leans back, arms folded, eyes narrowed. It's not just about one recipe. Students are talking. The whole program looks compromised. A junior faculty member, voice barely above a whisper, says, "We can't keep pretending it's not happening." The room bristles. Another instructor snaps, "It's just social media noise. Tyler's always been creative." The head shakes his head. "It's not noise. The posts are everywhere. If we ignore this, we lose trust." A culinary history professor speaks up, her tone measured. "Originality is the foundation of our craft. If we let this slide, what are we teaching?" The sous chef glances at the door as if expecting someone to burst in. "We need a policy. We need consequences," he mutters, referencing the school's integrity guidelines, 23. The conversation grows heated. "If we punish Tyler, we set a precedent," someone argues. "If we don't, we're complicit," comes the reply. The head instructor sighs, rubbing his temples. "We're already under scrutiny. The students see everything. We can't afford another scandal." A young instructor, quiet until now, slides a note across the table. "Imani deserves an apology." The room goes still. The head instructor nods finally. "We'll review all submissions. We'll be transparent. And we'll address the students directly." As the meeting ends, some instructors file out in silence, others in hushed debate. The pastry instructor lingers, glancing at the note before slipping it into her pocket. Outside, voices rise. Students gathered, waiting for answers. The walls feel thinner, the old order shaken. Change is no longer a whisper, it's a demand. The kitchen is buzzing with nerves as a woman in a sharp blazer steps inside, clipboard in hand. She surveys the room, her gaze sharp, lingering on the line of students. Chef Ashcroft straightens his jacket, forcing a smile. "Welcome to our kitchen. We're honored to have Food Network here today." The scout nods, barely acknowledging him, eyes already searching for something more. Imani stands at her station, hands steady as she plates her dish. The aroma of her collard greens drifts through the air. The scout approaches, stopping in front of her. "You're Imani Carter?" Imani nods, voice calm. "Yes, ma'am." The scout studies her, then gestures to the plate. "May I?" Imani steps back, letting her taste. The room grows quiet as the scout takes a bite. She closes her eyes, savoring the flavors, then opens them with a spark. "Where have you been hiding?" she asks, voice warm but direct. Chef Ashcroft steps in, tone clipped. She's talented but still learning. Not quite ready for the big stage. The scout raises an eyebrow, unimpressed. "The world's hungry for something new. Are you?" Luis watches from across the room, a grin spreading on his face. The other students whisper, some with envy, others with admiration. The sous chef glances at Imani, a flicker of respect in his eyes. The scout hands Imani a card. "We'll be in touch. Don't let anyone tell you you're not ready." Chef Ashcroft forces a laugh, but his shoulders sag as the scout moves on. Imani clutches the card, heart pounding, hope blooming. The kitchen's energy changes. Students eye her with new curiosity. Instructors exchange uneasy glances. Luis gives her a thumbs up, mouthing, "Told you so." Imani stands taller, her future suddenly closer than ever. The door to something bigger has opened, and this time no one can close it on her. Imani sits on her bed, the kitchen's chaos finally behind her, the Food Network Scouts card resting on her nightstand. She fingers her grandmother's locket, feeling the familiar grooves. Tonight, curiosity wins. She pops it open, noticing a slip of paper tucked behind the photo. Carefully, she unfolds it. The handwriting is faded but clear. When they reject you, feed the world. Imani's breath catches, the message hitting deeper than any critique ever could. She reads it. Again, voice barely a whisper. Feed the world. Her phone buzzes. Notifications, congratulations, interview requests, even a message from Maya Brooks. Your story is changing things. Keep going. Imani smiles, tears welling up. She snaps a photo of the letter, sending it to Luis. He replies instantly, "She knew. You're doing it." The next morning, Imani wakes early, determination in her chest. She heads to the local shelter, arms full of fresh rolls from last night's recipe test. The staff greets her, surprised. "You're the chef from the academy, right?" She nods, setting up trays. "Just here to cook." Volunteers help her plate the food, and soon the room fills with laughter and the scent of collard greens. A little girl tugs Imani's sleeve. "Did you make this?" Imani kneels, smiling. "It's my grandma's recipe. Want to help next time?" The girl nods eagerly. Across the room, a volunteer snaps a photo, posting it with the hashtag that started it all. As the line stretches around the block, Imani glances at her phone. The locket secret now shared with the world. The message is simple. Her food, her story, her roots, finally reaching those who need it most. She stands taller, the weight of rejection replaced by something fiercer. Purpose. The classroom is empty, chairs stacked, lights dimmed. Ashcroft sits alone at the bar across the street, nursing a drink, his phone buzzing with notifications he refuses to check. The television above the bottles flickers. Imani's face, her dish, the headline, "Student's recipe goes viral." He looks away, jaw clenched. A bartender wipes the counter, glancing at Ashcroft. "Rough day?" Ashcroft forces a laugh, but it's brittle. "You could say that." He scrolls through his messages. Colleagues, old friends, even students. Some are blunt. "What happened?" Others sharper. "You missed something big." He deletes them all, thumb trembling. He orders another round, ice rattling in the glass. The bartender pours, silent but watchful. Ashcroft's reflection in the mirror behind the bar looks older, smaller. He remembers the pride he once felt in his authority, the way students hung on his every word. Now, he can't shake the memory of Imani's steady gaze, her quiet refusal to shrink. A group of young cooks enters, laughter echoing. One recognizes. "Him," whispers to a friend. They don't approach. Ashcroft catches snippets. "That's him, the one from the story." He pretends not to hear, focusing on his drink. The bartender sets down a bowl of peanuts, a small, wordless gesture. He thinks about the kitchen, the rituals of control, the moments he dismissed creativity as not ready. The industry's ego, once his armor, now feels like a burden. He remembers advice from an old mentor. Humility keeps you sharp. Ego just keeps you alone. The words sting more than any headline. Ashcroft pays his tab, leaving a generous tip. He stands, shoulders slumped, and heads into the night. The city's noise swallows him up. For the first time, the weight of his own choices is heavier than any critique he's ever given. The world has moved on, and he's left behind. Stage lights blaze overhead as Imani steps onto the Food Network set, a crisp badge clipped to her jacket. She stands taller than ever, scanning the panel, her nameplate beside the other judges. Chef Ashcroft, at the far end, fidgets with his pen, eyes darting between cue cards in her face. The host's voice booms, "Let's welcome our guest, Judge Imani Carter." A ripple of surprise moves through the audience. Ashcroft forces a smile, but his hand trembles. He clears his throat. "Glad to have you here." Imani nods, her tone even. "Thank you. I'm looking forward to honest judging." The head judge, a seasoned chef, leans in. "We value objectivity here." Every dish stands on its own. Imani meets his gaze, steady. That's all any chef wants. Contestants wheel in their plates. Imani studies each dish, jotting notes, her feedback clear and fair. The flavors are bold, the execution confident, she says, lifting a fork. But the sauce could use more acidity. The other judges nod, scribbling their own thoughts. Ashcroft hesitates, then echoes her critique, voice subdued. A contestant, nerves visible, asks, "Do you ever get nervous judging?" Imani smiles, gently. "Only when I forget why I started." The audience murmurs, catching the double meaning. Ashcroft's jaw tightens, his usual authority slipping. The head judge glances at him, then at Imani, sensing the shift. Between rounds, Ashcroft tries to make small talk. "It's a lot of pressure up here." Imani replies, "Pressure reveals character." He looks away, fingers drumming the table. The cameras catch everything. The way he avoids her eyes, the way she never looks down. As the round ends, applause fills the studio. Imani's badge glints under the lights, a symbol of earned authority. Ashcroft's pen rolls off the table, landing at her feet. She picks it up, handing it back without a word. The gesture is quiet, but the message is clear. The power in the room has changed hands. A hush falls as the first contestant sets their plate in front of the judges. Imani lifts her fork, the aroma of collard greens and smoked pepper drifting up, tugging at something deep inside her. She glances at the contestant, a young woman with nervous hands and hopeful eyes. Chef Ashcroft clears his throat, but Imani is already tasting. She chews slowly, eyes closing for a split second. "This is familiar," she says, voice steady. "It reminds me of Sunday afternoons in my grandmother's kitchen." The contestant's face lights up, relief washing over her features. The head judge nods, scribbling notes. Ashcroft shifts in his seat, fingers tapping the table, jaw clenched. "It's bold," he offers, but his words lack conviction. Imani sets her fork down. "You honored the roots, but you made it your own." She turns to Ashcroft, her tone gentle but firm. "That's what food should do. Carry memory forward, not just copy the past." The audience leans in, sensing the emotional weight. Ashcroft looks away, unable to meet her gaze. The next plate arrives. Imani tastes, her feedback precise. "The heat is just right. The greens are tender. My grandmother would have smiled." The contestant beams, pride blooming. The cameras catch every reaction, the way Imani's eyes soften, the way Ashcroft's confidence flickers. Between bites, the head judge asks, "How do you know when a dish is right?" Imani answers, "When it makes you remember and dream at the same time." The audience murmurs approval, the moment settling over the room like a warm breeze. Ashcroft finally speaks, voice tight. "Some traditions are best left unchanged." Imani's reply is quiet but unyielding. Tradition isn't a cage, it's a door. The words hang, sharp and clear, as the next contestant steps forward. Imani's memories turn every bite into a statement. On this stage, flavor is more than taste. It's history, defiance, and hope served on a plate. The studio lights reflect off crisp tablecloths, every detail magnified for the cameras. Chef Ashcroft dabs his forehead with a napkin, the fabric, already damp. His pen slips from his grip, clattering to the floor. He forces a smile, but the edges are brittle. The head judge leans in. "You all right?" Ashcroft nods, voice thin. "Just warm under these lights." Imani jots notes, her movements calm and precise. She glances at Ashcroft, noticing the way his collar sits askew, the way his hand trembles as he reaches for water. The next contestant presents a dish. Ashcroft tastes it, hesitates, then offers, "It's safe, nothing risky." His usual confidence is gone, replaced by uncertainty. The head judge raises an eyebrow, surprised. Imani's feedback is clear. "The flavors are timid. Don't be afraid to take a chance." The contestant nods, grateful. Ashcroft shifts in his seat, tugging at his sleeve. He tries to reclaim control. Consistency is key in this industry. The words fall flat. The audience senses the change. Whispers ripple through the crowd. A camera operator zooms in, catching the bead of sweat rolling down Ashcroft's temple. He wipes it away, glancing at Imani, then quickly looking down. The host announces a short break. Ashcroft stands, shoulders hunched, and steps off stage. In the wings, he leans against a wall, breathing hard. The head judge joins him, voice low. "You don't have to carry it all yourself, you know." Ashcroft doesn't answer, staring at his shoes. Back on set, Imani reviews her notes, steady as ever. The crew resets the table, the atmosphere charged with something new. When Ashcroft returns, his posture is smaller. He avoids Imani's gaze, his authority cracked. The linen at his place is stained, a quiet testament to pressure he can't hide. The room feels different now, expectant, watchful, waiting for what comes next. Imani sits up straighter as the next contestant approaches, nerves visible in their hands. The plate is set down, a modern take on stewed greens, a nod to tradition with a twist of citrus. Imani picks up her fork, but before tasting, her fingers brush the locket at her neck. She holds it for a heartbeat, remembering her grandmother's kitchen, the laughter, the gentle advice. Make them taste your truth. The memory is a quiet anchor. She tastes the dish, letting the flavors settle. You respected where the recipe started, but you made it yours, Imani says, her voice even. The contestant exhales, tension melting from their shoulders. The head judge nods, jotting notes. Chef Ashcroft's gaze lingers on the locket, his face unreadable. Ashcroft tries to reassert himself. It's technically sound, but the flavors are unconventional. His words hang, uncertain. Imani turns, meeting his eyes. Unconventional is how tradition survives, she replies, not raising her voice. The audience murmurs, picking up on the shift. The host, sensing the moment, asks Imani, "What guides your palate?" She glances at the locket, then back at the crowd. Memory and courage. That's what makes a dish unforgettable. A camera flashes, capturing the locket's glint as she speaks. Ashcroft's hand tightens around his pen, but he says nothing. The contestant smiles, gratitude in their eyes. The head judge leans toward Imani. "Your grandmother would be proud." She nods, quietly moved. As the next round begins, Imani tucks the locket beneath her collar, her confidence steady. The kitchen's noise fades, replaced by a sense of purpose. The locket's weight is more than metal. It's a promise, a legacy, a reminder that her story flavors every judgment she makes. As the next contestant finishes, a hush settles in the studio. Imani offers her feedback, voice measured but warm. "You honored your roots and took a risk. That's what this stage is for." The contestant's eyes shine. A teenager in the audience, phone poised, catches every word, already typing out a caption. Within moments, the clip is online. Imani's words paired with the hashtag #TasteTheTruth. The ripple is immediate. Viewers at home start sharing the video, comments pouring in. She said what needed to be said. This is why representation matters. The head judge's phone vibrates on the table, a quick glance revealing hundreds of notifications. Chef Ashcroft stiffens, noticing the shift in energy. The sous chef, watching from backstage, nudges a producer. "She's trending! Look at this!" Imani's phone, tucked in her jacket pocket, buzzes nonstop. Luis texts from the green room. "You're everywhere. They can't ignore you now." Imani breathes in, steady. The host, catching the momentum, leans into the mic. "Looks like we've got a moment going viral, right here, right now." Ashcroft's jaw tightens as the studio monitors flash with live reactions, split screens of Imani's critique and his old dismissal from months ago. The audience leans forward, some raising their own phones, recording every reaction. A contestant whispers to Imani, "Thank you for saying what we all feel." She nods, quiet but resolute. Backstage, a producer grins. This is what people want to see. The head judge finally speaks, his tone different, more respectful. Let's keep raising the bar. Imani smiles, the weight of years lifting. Just a little. The hashtag climbs the charts. For the first time, the story isn't just in the kitchen, it's everywhere. Impossible to erase. The world is watching, and Imani's voice is finally the one leading the conversation. The studio is thick with tension as the last round ends. Imani offers her final critique, voice unwavering. You honored your story in every bite. The contestant nods, eyes shining. The host turns to the judges. Chef Ashcroft fidgets, his hands restless on the table. The head judge asks, "Any final thoughts?" Ashcroft's voice is barely above a whisper. "I was wrong." The words hang in the air, heavier than any critique he's ever given. The audience goes quiet. Some leaning forward, others exchanging glances. The cameras zoom in, catching the flush on Ashcroft's cheeks, the way his shoulders slump. Imani doesn't gloat. She simply nods, her expression calm, almost gentle. The host clears his throat, unsure how to proceed. "Thank you, Chef Ashcroft." The head judge offers a small approving nod to Imani. "It takes courage to admit that." Ashcroft stares at his hands, unable to look at anyone. The crew exchanges looks, some surprised, some relieved. Imani glances at Luis in the audience. He gives her a quiet thumbs up, pride in his eyes. The contestants whisper among themselves, the respect for Imani clear. One says softly, "She changed everything." The studio feels different now, the old power dynamic cracked open. Ashcroft finally looks at Imani. "You deserved better from me, from all of us." His voice is rough, regret clear. Imani meets his gaze, steady. "Thank you for saying it." The moment is brief, but its impact is lasting. The host signals the end of the segment. Applause breaks out, hesitant at first, then growing. Imani's locket glints under the lights. Ashcroft sits back, smaller than before. Legacy forever altered by 3 quiet words. The world has heard them, and nothing will be the same. The studio holds its breath as the winner is announced. The host's voice rings out, "Best in show, Imani Carter." For a split second, there's stillness. Then the audience erupts, applause rolling through the room like a wave. Contestants rush to hug Imani, some with tears, others with awe. The head judge rises, shaking her hand. "You earned this," he says, voice thick with emotion. Ashcroft claps, but the sound is hollow, his hands moving out of obligation. The cameras catch everything, Imani's proud smile, her locket gleaming, and Ashcroft's gold ring digging into his palm. He forces a smile as the host hands Imani the trophy. "Congratulations," he offers, but his eyes are distant, his posture slumped. Imani's speech is brief. "This is for every recipe that was ever passed over, for every cook who was told, 'not yet,' for every flavor that was called too much." The audience quiets, the words sinking in. Luis cheers from the front row, his voice breaking the hush. "You did it!" Imani meets his gaze, gratitude shining in her eyes. The applause resumes, louder now, but Ashcroft's clapping fades. He lowers his hands, staring at the tablecloth, shoulders tight. The head judge glances at him. Then, back at Imani, nodding with respect. A contestant whispers, "She changed everything." Another adds, "About time." The production crew moves in, snapping photos, capturing the shift. Ashcroft stands, lingering at the edge of the stage. He watches as Imani is surrounded by supporters, her victory absolute. The applause is relentless, but for him it's a verdict, a reminder that the room no longer belongs to him. As the lights dim, Imani lifts the trophy, her voice steady. "Let's make room for every story." The crowd rises, the final ovation echoing long after the cameras stop rolling. For Ashcroft, the sound is a sentence. For Imani, it's the start of something new. The credits roll, studio lights dimming as the audience files out. Ashcroft lingers at the edge of the stage, his white chef's jacket bright under the exit sign's red glow. He hesitates, glancing back at the judges' table. Imani surrounded by supporters, her trophy gleaming beside her locket. The applause lingers in the air, but for him it's a distant echo. He pulls the jacket tighter, shoulders hunched. A cameraman passes, offering a polite nod, but doesn't stop. Ashcroft moves toward the back hallway, footsteps muffled on the carpet. Paparazzi gather at the side door, flashes popping as he shields his face, pushing through the crowd. Someone calls his name, but he doesn't answer. Inside, the production crew packs up. The head judge glances at Ashcroft's retreating figure, then turns to Imani, offering a quiet word of congratulations. Luis joins her, voice low. He's gone. Imani nods, watching Ashcroft disappear into the shadows beyond the red-lit exit. A hallway security camera catches Ashcroft pausing beneath a poster of Imani's viral dish. He stares at it, jaw clenched, then lowers his head. His reflection in the glass is faint, almost erased by the glare. He stands there for a long moment, jacket stark against the darkness, before finally stepping outside into the night. Back in the dressing room, Imani sits with her trophy, her grandmother's photo propped beside it. She hears the distant commotion, but her focus is steady. The victory is hers, but the cost is visible in every corner of the empty hallway. As Ashcroft's figure fades into the city, the white jacket that once symbolized authority now marks his isolation. The red glow behind him isn't just an exit, it's the line between what was and what will be. For Imani, the future is open. For Ashcroft, the walkout is the only applause he'll hear tonight. Morning breaks with a new buzz in the academy halls. The old menu boards are gone, replaced by bold letters, Fusion Foundations. Students cluster around, snapping photos, some grinning, others shaking their heads in disbelief. Imani walks in, greeted by nods and quiet congratulations. Her locket rests against her chest, a silent reminder of every step it took to get here. Chef Ashcroft's office sits empty, nameplate removed. The staff room is quieter than usual. Some instructors whisper, others scroll through news feeds showing Imani's win and her viral speech. The culinary world is talking, and this time, it's not about tradition. It's about change. Reservations at restaurants run by the show's chefs skyrocket, kitchens across the city experimenting with new flavors and faces. Luis finds Imani by the new curriculum board. "You did it," he says, voice soft but proud. She smiles, glancing at the list of new courses: Southern Fusion, Global Heritage, Culinary Justice. "We did it," she corrects him. Down the hall, a group of first-year students debate which class to take, one saying, "I want to cook like her." Instructors gather for a meeting, the head chef addressing the room. "We're not just changing recipes. We're changing who gets to write them." There's resistance. One senior chef mutters about losing standards, but he's outnumbered by those ready for something new. Imani visits the Food Network lobby, where her locket and trophy are now displayed in a glass case titled Flavors of Resistance. A young visitor reads the plaque, turns to her mother and whispers, "That's the chef from TV. She changed everything." Outside, the city's restaurants fill with new voices and stories. Futures once closed off are now wide open. For Imani, it's not just a personal victory, it's a door, finally unlocked, for everyone who was told to wait their turn. The classroom kitchen buzzes with new voices, the air thick with the scent of fresh dough and simmering greens. Imani stands at the front, apron tied, watching a group of kids knead bread with flour-dusted hands. She moves between stations, offering gentle guidance. "Trust your instincts," she says, her tone encouraging. One girl hesitates, glancing at her bowl. What if it turns out wrong? Imani smiles, kneeling beside her. Mistakes are just the start of something better. Taste, adjust, try, again. A boy at the next table experiments with spices, eyebrows furrowed in concentration. He looks up, uncertain. Is this too much? Imani shakes her head. There's no such thing as too much curiosity. The students laugh, the tension easing. The kitchen is alive with possibility. Every station a small rebellion against blandness. On the wall, Imani's portrait hangs beside her grandmother's recipe card, framed and gleaming. A parent watching from the doorway wipes away a tear, whispering she's changing how they see themselves. The head of the academy peeks in, nodding approval as the new curriculum, Fusion Foundations, unfolds in real time. The old barriers are gone, the menu is wide open, full of stories and spice. As the class ends, Imani gathers the students. Remember, your food is your story. Don't let anyone tell you it doesn't belong. The children beam, pride in their eyes. The youngest raises her spoon, declaring, "One day I'll be on TV too." Laughter fills the room, hope rising with the steam. Imani looks around, heart full. The future is in these hands, messy, eager, unafraid. The last bite is not an ending, but a beginning. In this kitchen, every flavor is welcome, and every story gets a seat at the table. Ashcroft sits hunched at his desk, the only light coming from his laptop screen. Headlines scroll past. Imani Carter redefines Southern cuisine. A new era in the academy kitchen. Ashcroft absent from celebration. He clicks through the articles, each one a fresh sting. His inbox overflows with messages, some from colleagues, most left unread. A few offer polite condolences, but most are silent, the absence louder than any rebuke. He glances at his phone, watching notifications pile up. Social media is flooded with Imani's photo, her trophy raised, her locket glinting in the spotlight. A former student tags him in a post. "We needed this change." Ashcroft's fingers hover over the keyboard, but he can't bring himself to reply. Down the hall, footsteps echo. Faculty passing his door, voices hushed. No one stops. He's invisible in his own domain. A faded certificate on the wall catches his eye. Excellence in culinary leadership. He remembers the pride he felt. Hanging it, the certainty that his way was the only way. Now, the frame looks crooked, the words hollow. He stands, straightening it, but it tilts again as soon as he lets go. He sinks back into his chair, scrolling through more headlines. Each article is a reminder of what he's lost, not just status, but the trust and respect that once seemed unshakable. He remembers dismissing Imani's dish, the way her eyes never dropped, the quiet strength she carried. Regret settles in, heavy and cold. A message pops up from an old friend. "You all right?" Ashcroft types, then deletes his reply. He closes the laptop, the room suddenly darker. The world has moved on, celebrating a new chapter he can only watch from the shadows. For the first time, he wonders if he ever really understood what leadership meant. Imani stands in her childhood kitchen, sunlight streaming through the window, laughter bouncing off the walls. The room is alive with the clatter of spoons and the bubbling of pots. Children crowd around the counter, eager hands reaching for dough, their faces streaked with flour. Imani grins, guiding small fingers through the motions. "Gentle, let the dough rise on its own," she says, her voice warm. A little boy giggles, accidentally knocking over a bowl of herbs. Imani kneels to help him gather the leaves, whispering, "Every cook makes a mess. That's how you learn." The kitchen is filled with stories, Imani's memories of her grandmother's recipes, tales of family gatherings, and the pride of making something from scratch. A girl asks, "Did you always know you'd be a chef?" Imani shakes her head, smiling. "I just knew I wanted to share what I love." The aroma of collard greens and sweetbread drifts through the house. Parents peek in, drawn by the noise and the scent. One mother wipes a tear, watching her daughter knead dough with confidence. "She's never been this excited about cooking," she says, softly. Imani's phone buzzes on the windowsill. Messages of support, invitations to teach, news of her recipe in a best-selling cookbook. She glances at the screen, heart swelling, but her focus remains on the children. "Try it," she encourages as they taste their creations. Eyes light up, smiles spread, and the room erupts in applause. As the day ends, Imani gathers the kids for a group photo, arms wrapped around each other. "You did this," she tells them. "You made something new." The kitchen, once a place of quiet struggle, is now filled with hope and laughter, a new generation learning that their stories and their flavors belong. The announcement comes quietly. An email from the Academy's dean, subject line, "New opportunities for culinary students." Imani reads it in her kitchen, hands dusted with flour. The message details new scholarships for students of color, funded by community partners and national organizations committed to diversity in the culinary arts. The news spreads fast, students forwarding the email, parents sharing it on social media. Instructors gather in the staff room, some relieved, others uneasy, as the implications settle in. A group of students huddle by the bulletin board, reading the details. Look, full tuition for minority students. Even grants for women and first-generation college kids. Another points out a new partnership with the James Beard Foundation and a $5,000 diversity grant from Webstaurant Store. "They're finally opening doors," someone whispers, wondering in their voice. Luis finds Imani in the hallway, grinning. "You started this," he says. She shakes her head, but her eyes shine. "We all did." The dean passes by, pausing to watch the students. There's pride in his eyes, but also a hint of regret for how long it took. "We want every voice in our kitchen," he says, voice steady. Faculty meetings shift in tone. A senior chef, once resistant, now advocates for outreach to underrepresented communities. Others discuss how scholarships like those from Les Dames, Descoffier and the Culinary Institute of America can change the landscape for future chefs. Posters go up. "Apply now, diversity scholarships available." The halls fill with new faces, hoping to replace hesitation. Imani stands at the edge of the crowd, watching as students of all backgrounds gather around the application table. The Academy, once a gatekeeper, is becoming a gateway. It's not just about money, it's about belonging. For the first time, the future feels wide open, and the kitchen is ready for every story. The studio lights are softer than the kitchen glare, but Imani still feels exposed as she sits across from Maya Brooks. Maya, poised with a notepad and a kind smile, begins. "You've changed the conversation for so many. What does that responsibility feel like?" Imani hesitates, then answers, "It's heavy, but it's hope too." Maya leans in, her voice gentle. "When did you realize your story was bigger than just food?" Imani glances at her hands. "When people started sharing their own recipes, their own struggles, I realized it wasn't just about me, it was about all of us who've ever been told to wait our turn." The cameras roll as Maya asks, "What would you say to young chefs watching you now?" Imani's answer is steady. "Don't shrink yourself. Your flavor matters, your story matters. Even if they don't taste it at first, keep serving it." Maya nods, visibly moved. Behind the scenes, producers watch the live feed, exchanging, approving looks. The chat on the show's website is filled with comments. "My daughter's watching this with me." "Finally, someone who looks like us." Maya closes her notepad, voice warm. "Thank you for your honesty, Imani. You're not just changing kitchens, you're changing hearts." As the segment ends, Maya reaches out, squeezing Imani's hand. "Keep going. The world needs more of this." Imani smiles, her nerves replaced by gratitude. The crew claps quietly, and the director signals a wrap. After the interview, Maya's producer approaches Imani. "That was powerful. The response is overwhelming." Imani glances at her phone. Messages from strangers, old friends, even chefs she admired as a child. She breathes in, the weight of her journey balanced by the support she feels in the room. Imani leaves the studio knowing her story is no longer just hers. It's a spark, lighting the way for others to step forward and share their own. Ashcroft sits at the edge of the staff meeting, shoulders hunched, eyes fixed on the table. The room is filled with talk of new scholarships, curriculum changes, and Imani's Food Network triumph. His name is missing from the agenda, his voice no longer sought. A former protege walks by, offering only a curt nod. Another instructor, once eager for his approval, now avoids his gaze entirely. He pulls out his phone, scrolling through messages. Most are group announcements, none addressed to him. The Academy's social media page is a flood of praise for Imani and her students. Photos of her classes, her portrait in the main hall, her recipes featured in the new course catalog. Ashcroft's inbox is empty except for a single, automated reminder to return his office keys by semester's end. In the hallway, students cluster around a bulletin board. "He used to run everything," one whispers. "Now he's just gone." The words sting, but Ashcroft keeps walking, his footsteps muffled by the new carpet. He passes the staff lounge, where laughter erupts over a viral video of Imani teaching. No one invites him in. The silence is heavy, not angry, just final. A senior chef, once his closest ally, glances up as Ashcroft enters the kitchen. Their eyes meet for a moment. The chef offers a polite, distant smile, then returns to prepping for the new Fusion Foundations class. Ashcroft lingers, searching for something to say, but finds nothing. He leaves quietly, unnoticed. At home, he sits in the fading light, the walls lined with awards that now feel like relics. He scrolls through news articles about restaurant scandals and reputation crises, wondering if he could have changed the outcome. The world has moved on. His authority is gone, not with a scandal, but with a quiet, steady erasure. Imani sits at her kitchen table, sunlight streaming across a stack of fresh books. She runs her fingers over the cover, her grandmother's name in gold, the title bold, Roots and Resilience, Recipes from Home. Inside, the pages are filled with stories and dishes, each one a thread in the tapestry of her family's journey. The publisher's note thanks Imani for sharing the flavors and memories that shaped a generation. She flips to the recipe that started it all. Collard greens simmered with smoked turkey, a hint of cayenne, and a dash of hope. The instructions are precise, but the margin holds a memory. Let the greens simmer slow, just like Grandma did. Taste and remember. Imani smiles, recalling her grandmother's hands guiding hers, the kitchen alive with laughter and the scent of simmering broth. Readers across the country post photos online. Families gathered around steaming bowls, children learning to stir, elders tasting and nodding in approval. Comments pour in. "Tastes like home. My mother cried when she tried this. Thank you for helping me remember." Imani's phone buzzes with messages from strangers and old friends alike, each one a testament to the power of a shared meal. A food magazine features her story, describing how the recipes are more than instructions. They're a bridge between past and present, a celebration of culture and survival. Imani's editor calls, voice bright with pride. "Your grandmother's legacy is everywhere now. You've given her story to the world." Imani closes the book, heart full. The kitchen is quiet, but she feels her grandmother's presence in every corner. The recipe isn't just preserved, it's alive, passed from hand to hand, table to table. In every home where her book is opened, her family's story lives on. Imani scrolls through her messages, pausing at one from a former classmate. "I owe you an apology. I didn't see what you were up against. I'm sorry." She reads, another. "I used to think you were just trying to stand out. Now I realize you were standing up for all of us." The words are awkward, sometimes halting but genuine. Imani types back, her replies gracious but honest. "Thank you. Change takes all of us." Luis joins her at a cafe, sliding into the seat across from her. "You've got half the class reaching out," he teases. Imani smiles, shaking her head. "Feels strange. Some of them have never spoken to me before." Luis shrugs. "People grow. Or at least, they try." Across the room, another chef from the academy raises a hand in greeting. Imani waves back, surprised by the warmth. Later, she attends a community event, invited by a former rival. They stand, together behind a table of homemade bread and greens, serving plates side by side. "I was wrong about you," the rival admits quietly. "I want to do better." Imani nods, accepting the olive branch. They laugh as a group of kids rush the table, eager for seconds. Instructors from the Academy approach, proposing new collaborations, guest lectures, recipe exchanges, mentorship programs for young chefs of color. Imani listens, weighing each offer. "Let's make sure it's not just talk," she says, her tone gentle but firm. They agree, eager to build something lasting. As the sun sets, Imani looks around at the mix of old friends and new allies. The lines that once divided them have blurred. Apologies have opened doors, and shared purpose has replaced rivalry. The culinary world is changing, not because of one person, but because enough people decided to listen, to learn, and to try. Again, morning light pours through the Academy's main hall, illuminating the new portrait on the wall. Imani, chef's coat crisp, her locket visible, eyes steady. Students gather beneath it, some snapping photos, others just staring. A group of first years, hands full of notebooks and hope, pause to read the plaque. Imani Carter, champion of change, advocate for every flavor. Luis stands nearby watching the crowd. He nudges a shy student forward. "Go on, take a closer look." The student hesitates, then steps up, tracing the frame with a fingertip. "She looks like us," someone whispers. Another adds, "If she can do it, so can we." The energy in the hall is different, expectant, alive. Faculty members walk by, some offering genuine smiles, others quietly thoughtful. The head of the Academy lingers, nodding at Imani's portrait before greeting the new class. "Welcome," he says, voice clear. "This kitchen is yours now. Make it better than we ever did." The message is simple, but the impact is real. Imani arrives, pausing at the edge of the crowd. She watches as students take selfies, share stories, and talk about their dreams. A young woman approaches her, eyes shining. "Thank you for making space for us." Imani smiles, placing a hand on the student's shoulder. "You belong here. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." The bell rings, signaling the start of a new term. The hall empties, but the portrait remains, a silent promise that every story matters, every flavor deserves a place. As Imani heads to her classroom, she glances back one last time, pride and hope mingling in her chest. The Academy's walls, once lined with sameness, now reflect possibility. A new generation steps forward, ready to cook, to lead, and to change the world, one recipe at a time.